I have to talk loud. Hey everybody, what's up? You know me, it's Craig. It's the Energy is Love podcast. We are here in Portland, Oregon, downtown Portland right now. What's this place called, do you know?
Pioneer Square.
Pioneer Square. And we're here recording live. We're here at the Float Conference, doing all of our podcasting and everything like that, and getting into floating and whatnot. But one of the things we wanted to do was chat people up on the streets. And so right now I'm...
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to have to be patient with us, obviously, because like I said, we're live here on the street. So we're going to do the best that we can. But I've got Hazel here.
I'm Hazel.
Hi, Hazel. How are you?
I'm all right.
Yeah? You hanging in there? You doing okay?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So, Hazel, I have a question for you. First and foremost,
Okay.
one of the things that we ask people, because like I explained to you a little bit before, it's the Energy is Love podcast.
Yeah.
We get into all sorts of weird, crazy, hippie, spiritual shit.
Yeah.
Do you know what a chakra is?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an energy. Basically, it's basically an energy source in your body.
Excellent. Do you ever work with your own?
I try to.
How do you do that?
I make sure I align myself, and I start from the root chakra, and I make myself. I don't really have any thoughts. I don't have any distractions, and I sort of work with it.
Do you have a favorite one? Like, do you have one that you typically go to, one that you typically work with and use?
The one that I end up using that kind of I work with the most is the heart chakra, because when that's open more, I really feel it. When it's closed, I feel it as well.
Yeah. And it sounds like you're pretty familiar with them, which is way awesome. I lucked out picking the right person.
Yeah.
If you were going to advise somebody, if you're going to talk to somebody, say somebody comes and sits down in front of you and they say, for whatever reason, they feel like they have some sort of block or they can't work through something emotionally that is stuck and stagnant, what would you tell them to do? What would you kind of recommend?
I would recommend...
Look at the camera so everybody can see you.
Yeah, I would recommend basically sort of spending time to get to know yourself in a way. Spend a day in nature next to the creek maybe, and just sit there. Don't worry about any thoughts. You don't really need any special candle or anything. Just sit there quietly, no music, and just let everything go. Don't even think about what's bothering you, and don't think exactly why you have that blockage. Don't even think about anything. Just think about being calm, location, and letting it go. Feel like you're basically rooting yourself into the ground, and your station there, you as one being.
That's super good advice. I got another question for you.
Yeah.
Do you ever work with crystals or rocks or stones? Do you have any that are kind of your favorite, or have you ever gotten into that kind of aspect of stuff?
Yeah, definitely. I'm not like too big into crystals and rocks because honestly, like, I don't really like to mix them, I'd say.
Yeah.
Because personally, if I have like 10 different rocks that all have 10 different, they work with 10 different parts of my body energy, I don't really like to mix them.
Yeah.
I feel like some of them should be separated, but yeah. I meet a lot of people who trade rocks and who have rock collections.
Do you have any?
I mean, I have a few. Most recent one I got was, what's this? It's kind of dirty right now, but
That's going to be like
fluorite?
fluorite?
Yep,
Yeah.
fluorite. And fluorite is supposed to work with the heart.
Show the camera.
Yeah, it's in I got a little rock cage for it, but
That's super cool.
yeah.
Fluorite's a really, really good stone. You should wear it. You should put it around your neck.
My necklace just broke yesterday. The little silver chain broke,
Yeah.
so...
Okay, well, one last question. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for doing the, like I said, the live podcasting.
Yep.
The last question I have for you is, first off, do you have a spirit animal that you kind of think about or that you know?
I've only worked with spirit animals, like, it was a few years ago, and I didn't really get, like, too much into it. I never really, like, basically I forgot which one.
If you could pick one animal to kind of embrace and to kind of be, what would it be? What animal?
It would be, like a larger cat, I'm guessing. More like a panther.
A panther, and why? Why would you want to be a panther?
Because I just really like how cats are. Like, I like the way they're fluffy and you know, cute, but then, you know, you don't want to mess with them in a way, kind of. And just, you know, how they are in nature.
Yeah. So I intuitively connect to people sometimes, and the way you describe a cat being fluffy and kind of their you know, their natural nature, but then at the same time they don't want to deal with people. They're kind of solitary creatures. Kind of describes you maybe a little bit, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Very cool. Well, Hazel, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yep, you're welcome.
Because you were willing to. You get a Energy is Love podcast bumper sticker.
Thank you so much.
So that's for you. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, okay?
Yep.
So everybody, that was Hazel. That was our first live guest here in Portland. What's been going on is I've been walking around this square trying to chat people up, trying to find people willing to come on the podcast, and quite honestly, it's not going very well. I'm surprised at how many people are reluctant to do this, but I don't know. We're going to keep this search going. We're going to see if we can keep finding some people. We're going to do the best that we can. You guys are going to have to be patient with me because I'm going to give these folks my spiel real fast in hopes that they're willing to chat for a minute. Say hello to this guy. How are you guys? Good. My name's Craig. I'm going to kind of interrupt you real fast. I hope it's not too... I host a podcast, and right now I'm live on Facebook with the Energy is Love podcast. Would you guys be willing to sit right here? We can sit right here, and I'll just chat you up for a minute and kind of visit with you.
About what?
It's for the podcast.
What's...
It's the Energy is Love podcast. You guys know what podcasting is?
We know about... Yeah, we just wonder like what the general idea was behind it.
Behind the podcast, we're all about spirituality and enlightenment and the metaphysical and bringing awareness to all that kind of crazy stuff, just to kind of expand people's minds, raise their vibration and stuff like that.
I'm open to chat with you.
You guys cool with that?
I may disagree, but I'm definitely open
That's
to chat
totally
with you.
cool. I like people that are kind of skeptical. You don't want to be on?
I'm not skeptical necessarily.
Okay, I'm going to sit right down here between you guys. So guys, we lucked out. We got somebody else on the show. Tell me your name.
So my name's Alex.
Alex. And are you from Portland?
I'm from Beaverton.
Beaverton?
Yep.
Okay, I have no idea where that's from. I'm from Utah.
It's
so.
like 15 minutes from here.
Excellent. So Alex, right?
Alex.
I'm terrible with names.
All good, man.
Alex is kind of a skeptic, so it's a perfect person for us to talk to. First off, do you know anything about like energy work and spirituality and chakras and auras and any of that kind of stuff?
Not a ton.
Okay.
I have my own thoughts, but
Tell me, what are your thoughts?
I'm a huge
You
believer
gotta look
in
at the
energy.
camera. Imagine everybody out there in the world.
I'm a huge believer in energy. The
Okay.
world is energy in my mind, right? I'm not extremely spiritual. I wouldn't call myself spiritual, but I believe, we're literally made out of what the earth is made out of.
Exactly,
right?
yeah, the whole universe.
Right. So I'm a strong believer in energy, and that we are in much more control than we tend to believe in that sense, which I think a lot of people don't think that we are.
So I'm going to stop you right there.
Okay.
Because honestly, you're sitting here talking to me about we're all made up of the same stuff.
Yep.
The universe, the world, the planet, everybody around us is made up of that same stuff. We could call it energy for lack of, just to make it simple and easy. And we have more control of it
Sure.
than people necessarily think. So see, dude, you're totally spiritual. You're totally enlightened. Because the reality is, well, my belief system and the belief system of our listeners, and well, not all of them, but some of them, it's exactly that we stem from the same source of energy. Everybody's interconnected with that flow of energy, not just people, but animals and water and trees and sky, everything. And when you can actively, consciously take that into your space and think about it and believe it, like you said, you can work with it. Do you have anything in your mind where you kind of work with it in a sense?
Maybe. I'm not really sure, to be honest.
Okay. Give me an example of something that first thing that kind of pops into your head when I ask you that question.
Worked with energy.
Or some way that you kind of, not manipulate like in a bad way, but some way that you're kind of consciously aware of working with that energy that's out there.
One of the first conversations I ever had about this,
Okay.
and this was just sort of the idea that we talked about that got me interested in it, was like if you don't have a thought in your head, it can't be real, sort of thing. It's a very interesting thought. I'm not saying I necessarily agree with that, but that was kind of the thought that, because I'm extremely interested in this stuff and I think about it often. So for example,
if you have a thought, or if you don't have a thought, then it's not real.
correct.
Okay.
So if I'm driving to work and the thought of a car accident never even enters my mind, it won't happen.
Okay. Or if you do think of it, then you kind of align
You
things
created
up
the
where
opportunity.
there's a possibility of
Right,
that happening.
exactly.
Okay.
Now, I'm not necessarily saying I agree with it, or that's what I believe, but that was sort of the first thought that sparked my interest in this kind of stuff.
So that would tie into like the law of attraction and manifestation, which is a big thing in the realm of spirituality and things like that.
Sure.
But can you think of a time in your life where you kind of were aware of that, or where you know, maybe it was because hindsight's always 20/20, right?
Right.
Like you go throughout your day and you think everything's fine and dandy, then not necessarily a car accident, but something happens, something goes down, and then you look back and you realize all these little tiny things kind of had to line up in order for that to happen, and it doesn't have to be a negative.
Sure,
Sometimes
sure.
it's a positive.
I do struggle to see it in the moment. I
Yeah.
have a lot of hindsight stuff where I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, I wonder if that happened because of this, or then once like something big happens, I'll think, you know, these had to align perfectly for this to happen or whatever. But while I'm in the moment, I do struggle to sort of think about it.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't really know a ton about this stuff, which is why I was interested to talk.
Well, excellent. Well, you can go find out more at theenergieslovepodcast.com. Of course, I got to throw that out
You
there.
got it, bro. You got to do the plug, man.
But I mean, it's amazing that somebody that's a skeptic, somebody that might not necessarily believe in a sense or be aware in a sense, you still have that concept and idea, because that whole concept and idea that you're talking about, it's huge. The idea and the
So
theory,
many people don't realize it.
they don't realize it. I'll give you another example, or kind of challenge you in a sense to one way to think about this. Everybody has like an inner knowingness and intuition. A lot of times we chalk it up to like that gut instinct or that gut feeling, right? Sometimes it'll physically feel like butterflies. That's one common way that people describe it and everything like that. And then you'll move into an experience, you'll walk into a room, you'll start interacting with somebody, and shit just feels wrong, right? And you feel it in your gut. Now, granted, everything I'm talking to you about, my belief system, it's all kind of my concepts and ideas and theories, and it's not just based on my, I don't sit back and I do sit back and ponder this stuff. But anyways, that reaction, that instinct, that thing that happens to you physically sometimes, and you just get that sense and that feeling, that's that universal energy that you're kind of talking about, that we're all connected with. And that's that energy vibrating and connecting on a frequency to the energy centers in your body. So now we're talking about your chakras and your solar plex and your sacral, stuff that resonates and sits in your belly. And the reason that it starts to feel that way is because it's kind of your own way of connecting to that shit that's out there, to give you the heads up, to give you that opportunity to, either make that decision to go left as opposed to right, or to get out of that situation and protect yourself.
So if you don't mind me asking, then,
Yeah.
do you believe in a higher power, or do you think we're the higher power?
Well, I believe in a higher power in this. I don't believe in a singular God in the normal or the typical Christianity kind of way of looking at it. I believe in the universe. The Energy is Love podcast is the podcast
us,
for the
right?
universe. Yeah. And so that higher power that I believe in is this big, huge cosmic ball of energy that spins in the sky. And for me personally, that's why it's Energy is Love, because in the end, for me, it boils down to love.
And is that higher than us?
Well,
In your opinion?
no. In my opinion, it's the same thing that sits inside my heart, inside your heart. That dog that just came up and walked past us, it's the exact same thing. Now, when I say it's higher than us, I mean,
Physically higher.
sometimes it's easier to think of it in that regard,
Sure.
that it's out there in the cosmos somewhere. But at the same time, you go sit out in nature, you feel it. This is a beautiful square that we're sitting in. You can feel stuff here. And so it's not necessarily anything higher or lower. I don't think for me, it's all this big, huge, interconnected conglomeration of awesomeness that we're all connected and, we flow through.
I would agree 100%. Yeah.
See, you're totally spiritual. You just didn't realize
I
it.
think it's interesting that we synonymize religion with spirituality.
Uh-huh.
I think that's very common.
It is.
Part of why I don't want to make assumptions on what you're going to talk to me about.
Yeah.
But obviously, a lot of people come up, not to me specifically, but just in general, and be like, "Hey, can I talk about my religion?" And they sort of throw in the spiritual, I'm spiritual, religious, whatever. Hence why I said I was a skeptic.
Uh-huh.
And I'm hesitant to say I'm spiritual because a lot of times people get that in their minds and they think, "Oh, this guy."
Yeah, it's got that negative connotation
it's got the stigma around
that
it.
correlation, connection with religion and things like that.
Which is why I said I was a skeptic. But
Yeah.
what we're talking about, which is truly refreshing because I think about this all the time.
Excellent.
this is what I would think is spiritual as well, but maybe not what society would classify as spiritual. But again, I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, the fact is, society is a big, huge thing, and I think a lot of times we pigeonhole society with some of these things, when in reality, I could go talk to anybody in this place, and they're not going to think of the norm that we would necessarily pin society as, right?
No.
So I think we have to expand our mind outside of even.
And I think that's honestly the hardest part.
It is.
To sort of take a step back and think what's normal,
Uh-huh.
and then why is it that way?
Yeah.
You know, I think we accept things a lot of the time, and we just think this is just the way it is, and it's extremely challenging to take the step back and say why, and then actually why. Not like why on the surface, but take 4 or 5 steps deeper and think, no, really, why is it this way, right? And that's something that I, keep trying to do, and it's a process.
So, on that topic, on that on that thing you just kind of posed, why the way things are, I won't ask you the big, huge one, like why are we here, the meaning behind life, all that kind of stuff. But we'll make it simpler. We'll make it smaller than that. Why do you think? Well, this isn't going to seem, it's smaller in a sense, but if you think about the way our galaxy works, and specifically just our solar system, our planets, and how we're circling around the sun and everything's spinning, why do you think that is? Do you think that it's just happenstance? Do you think it's just the Big Bang and the way that gravity spread and everything kind of got locked in place? Or do you think there's a divine purpose and reason behind it in a sense?
I really don't know.
You don't know? Have you ever thought about that aspect of it?
You know what? I haven't. I think a lot about the universe, and it just blows my mind.
Yeah.
And it's just something I can't comprehend. I haven't been able to wrap my mind around the just actual thought of it and what it is to dig deeper.
Yeah.
So I'm still in the phase of like, let's think about for a second that it would take 1,100 years to circle the biggest star just in our galaxy in a point once.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, just in our galaxy. So stuff like that, I just can't believe. So I'm still trying to wrap my mind around how is that possible. So I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of in a phase of like, I just want to hear what other people think.
How old are you?
I am 22.
22. You're at a perfect phase in your life where you can think crazy shit and
Exactly.
imagine all these
Right.
things and expand. And I would encourage you to always do that in life, not just obviously right now when you're 22, but throughout the rest of your life. Because as soon as you start questioning things, I do it all the time. All these things that we're talking about, this belief system in a sense, and I hate using that term because then we go back to the connotation and the connection with religion. It's just shit that I think and I feel.
Yeah, exactly.
And I challenge
just
it.
as a side note there, sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt, but like, I think if people stopped associating your opinions are different and thinking that different means wrong, the world would be an insanely better place.
Yes.
Because like, I don't believe in God personally.
Uh-huh.
If someone else does believe in God, I'm not saying you're incorrect. It's just, it's different from me.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not 100% sure. You say you're 100% sure, although you shouldn't be.
Well, I'm like 99.9. What I was saying was I challenge
Not
everything.
you, but right,
Oh,
right.
okay,
Yeah, I was
people
saying
out there.
you in general.
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Sorry, not you.
I'm up for anything.
Yeah.
In my mind, all the things that I think and I hold true and my faith is kind of based off of that love that I have.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with throwing that shit all out the window and expanding outside of it and realizing, I was thinking too small.
Right,
And there's really, there's always bigger stuff out
Always.
there.
And it's funny when we think big.
Yeah.
There's always a time where we're like, no, I was thinking small.
Yeah.
Right? You can look back and think that, which is fascinating.
One of the things for me that helped me on my path, on my journey, whatever you want to call it, one of the things that helped me kind of get into the space of, because initially I was very skeptical of all this shit. I started learning about it and understanding it and working with it and really getting into it. But I was still a skeptic.
Sure.
And then I got to the point where I realized the universe is bigger than infinite. Do you know what I mean? That whole concept and idea of something never ending, just continuing on and on and on.
It's tough to comprehend.
It's really tough to comprehend. And that's enough space in my mind, infinite space that never ends. That's enough space out there that everything's possible. And so it's like for me to think that these concepts and ideas that we talk about on the podcast or that I think in my own head, that they may or may not be true. Do you know what I mean? Because the universe holds enough space for everything to be possible, everything to be true. Your belief system could be 100% true. Mine could be 100% true.
Exactly.
That person down there, over there, all that kind of stuff.
And that's a fantastic mindset to have.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people will think this is how it is, it's my way, and this is how the world is. It's
Yeah.
like it's true to you, but again, they just don't take that step back and think the world's bigger than me, right?
Yeah.
There's other opinions other than my own, and I could be wrong, right? I mean, it's hard for people to admit, like, wow, what I live for, my whole thought process, my whole mindset, it all could be incorrect.
For sure.
But once you realize that, it makes learning a lot easier.
It does.
More fun.
It does make it a lot easier, more fun. So I'll give you a couple of things to think about. Go find our shit and listen to it, because you'll get a lot of different ideas and concepts. But if I, just sitting here chatting with you, I got a kind of a feel for you and an understanding of where you're at. And you're somebody that's open-minded enough to explore some of this stuff.
Sure.
And I think that's great, and I think that's wonderful. I would recommend, first off, because you talked about it in the way that you described things, go look into the law of attraction. Go read about, that whole concept and that idea and the belief system surrounding how we manifest things in life. And then you'll start to see, I can really start working with that. I can start using that aspect of the way the universe works in my own life to better yourself in a sense, and to also bring forth, the highest, greatest joy that you could possibly imagine in life, because that's what it's all about.
Right.
Do that, and then I also can tell from sitting down, and you're kind of one of those like analytical guys in a sense too, where like you got to have numbers that add up and make sense in order for you to really kind of hold on to it and believe it.
In order for me to have a very firm belief, yes.
Yeah.
Which is why, like, I don't have, my beliefs aren't so strong. The only really thing that I so firmly believe in is that our ideas should be fluid, and we should be open-minded, and we should listen to others, right? I
For
mean,
sure.
Like I said, just because it's different doesn't mean it's wrong. Those are like sort of my core concepts that I take in every conversation.
Yeah.
Outside of that, like, I don't believe in God, but is it like, wow, I'm an atheist, die hard, I'm gonna live my life like this? No. It's just, if I had to choose, it's just what I was.
Cool. So go look into sacred geometry too. Just Google sacred geometry and then go to town exploring all that stuff. Because there's mathematics behind it. I mean, it's literally geometry, sacred. When I say sacred, it's the fact that there's a belief system around all these type of different things. But if you look into that kind of stuff, there's a lot of times people who are science-based in a sense like that aspect of spirituality, because it's math. It's something that they can wrap their minds around. And so that'd be a good thing to look into. Excellent.
Yep.
What's your lady's name?
Our name's Abby.
Abby, you're going to get on camera for a minute. Abby was too nervous to be on the podcast, but luckily we sat down with the right folks. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're going to be here all weekend long in Portland here for the Float Conference. And it's been an amazing trip so far, and we absolutely love it. So thanks for tuning in, guys. If you haven't already, share the Facebook page, do all that shit that we always talk about on the podcast, simply because we like to expand everybody's vibration and raise it out there so that they get the ideas of some of the things that we're talking about. And like Alex said, man, just think outside the box all the time and question everything, because that's a good way to be, a good way to live. But we love everybody out there, and we always sign off, and we'll sign off this live Facebook with everything else. Go out and have a beautiful, wonderful day, and hug somebody, do whatever you need to do, because the universe is a great, great place.
Thanks, guys.